Previously, the day of Jinwoo's rank reevaluation had arrived. A crowd of reporters had gathered in front of the Hunter Association building, as Jinwoo's reevaluation coincided with that of a popular actor named Lee Min-sung. Shortly after, Guildmasters Baek Yoon-ho and Choi Jong-in appeared together. The reporters immediately bombarded them with questions, inquiring if their presence was intended to recruit Lee Min-sung. Yoon-ho clarified that he was not there to meet him, while Choi revealed that Lee Min-sung had already signed a contract with the Reaper Guild, and he was attending the association for other matters. Yoon-ho shared with Choi a rumor he had heard about the near annihilation of the Hunters Guild members. Choi responded that their losses paled in comparison to those of the White Tiger Guild. However, they both acknowledged that without Jinwoo's timely intervention, their reserve strike team members would have undoubtedly perished. Choi declared his determination to recruit Jinwoo into his guild by any means necessary, driven by a sense of moral obligation. This statement sparked Yoon-ho's disapproval, who believed that his guild, having suffered casualties, had a stronger claim to Jinwoo. Amidst the squabble between the two guild masters, a voice interrupted their exchange. "Hey, you two, are you fighting over our Lee Min-sung?" It was Lim Taegyu, an S-rank hunter and the guild master of the Reaper Guild. Hearing this statement, Yoon-ho and Choi's frustration boiled over, leaving Taegyu with a look of total bewilderment that could rival a cartoon character. From inside his car, Min-sung grinned, confidently assuming that both guildmasters were fighting over him. Min-sung stepped out of his car to be interviewed by reporters, and all cameras were now on him. Meanwhile, Jinwoo had arrived at the Hunter Association building and was surprised by the large number of reporters gathered in front of the building. He walked into the building through the crowd of reporters. However, when he reached the front door, he was suddenly stopped by Min-sung's guards. The guards refused to let Jinwoo pass and told him to leave. In his mind, Min-sung wondered who this man was, and then told his guards to get rid of him quickly. Suddenly someone said, "On whose authority are you trying to send him away? That man is our guest." It was Mr. Go Gun-hee, the president of the Korean Hunter Association, who had come out to personally escort Jinwoo. Mr. Go advised Min-sung not to hold a press conference without permission, and then he invited Jinwoo into the building. The reporters who saw this wondered who the man was and why Mr. Go came out to personally escort him inside. Meanwhile, Min-sung was furious because Jinwoo was messing up his debut. Min-sung then told the reporters that he was going inside to discuss his schedule for the day with the association. However, the association's surveillance team quickly guarded the entrance. Jinchul said, "Another hunter is currently undergoing an evaluation. Until the evaluation is finished, no one else is allowed to enter the building." Min-sung tried to negotiate. "I'm Lee Min-sung. My father is the vice president of Yojin Architecture. He has donated a lot of money to the association, and you should follow my orders. Are you sure you can handle the consequences of your actions?" Jinchul replied firmly, "Yes, I can." Hearing this, Min-sung became even more upset. "What do you mean? Are you saying that the hunter who just came in is better than me?" While taking off his glasses, Jinchul said, "If I answer your question, can Mr. Lee Min-sung handle the consequences?" Feeling Jinchul's intimidating aura, Min-sung was afraid and speechless. Inside the association building, Mr. Go leads Jinwoo to the evaluation room, where they find Choi Jong-in and Baek Yoon-ho waiting for them. An examiner arrives and asks Jinwoo to demonstrate his abilities. Jinwoo summons a single shadow warrior, which shocks the examiner and Mr. Go. However, Mr. Go was skeptical and asked if this was the full capacity of his abilities. Jinwoo realizes that he can no longer lie, as there have been many witnesses to his abilities. He summons all of his warriors. "Come out, my shadows." The room pulsed with a surge of powerful magical energy as shadow warriors materialized from Jinwoo's shadow. Jinwoo declares that he can summon over 100 creatures, leaving everyone in the room stunned. Yoon-ho is particularly shocked by the magical energy, realizing that it is far more powerful than when they first met. In short, Jinwoo now has a new status as a Korean-esque rank hunter, and at the same time, his ranking was instantly updated on the official website of the Korean Hunter Association. Meanwhile, outside the association building, Min-sung continued his press conference, addressing the reporters with a grand declaration of his intention to protect the public by becoming a hunter. However, his true motives were far from noble. He sought the title of hunter solely for the fame and fortune it would bring. As Min Sung continues to bask in the media spotlight, the reporters are suddenly interrupted by news of the 10th S-rank hunter that has just been announced by the Hunter Association. They realize that it's the same man who entered the building with Mr. Go earlier. The reporters immediately abandon Min Sung and rush to the front door of the building to await the S-rank hunter's emergence. Min Sung's carefully orchestrated debut crumbled before his eyes, like a poorly constructed sandcastle during a hurricane. Inside the association building, Yoonho approaches Jinwoo and asks for a moment of his time. However, Jinwoo apologizes, claiming that he has urgent matters to attend to. As he hastily opened the door to make his escape, he was met with a swarm of reporters, their cameras flashing relentlessly. Jinwoo's face became an instant sensation, his identity as the 10th S-rank hunter spreading like wildfire across the nation. The news of Jinwoo's achievement reached Song-hee, who was at school. She excitedly informed Jinna that her brother was on television. The mining team also caught wind of the breaking news. The miner who had previously harassed Jinwoo was struck with fear upon seeing the news of Jinwoo's elevated status. He realized the grave mistake he had made in underestimating him and feared the consequences of his actions. Mr. Song also learned of Jinwoo's newfound rank, his expression a mix of surprise and admiration. News of Jinwoo's survival has reached as far as America, much to the chagrin of Hwang Dong-soo, who is still recovering in the hospital. Meanwhile, Jin-ho, who was meeting with his father, also saw the news about Jinwoo. His father inquired about Jin-ho's efforts to recruit him. Jin-ho explained that his attempts were unsuccessful, as Jinwoo had expressed his intention to establish his own guild and had even offered him the position of vice guild master. Surprised by this revelation, Jin-ho's father then explained his motivation for forming a guild. He emphasized that his motivations were not driven by financial gain, but rather by a desire to protect his family. As was widely known, the power and influence of hunters were steadily increasing. In some cases, hunters' power rivaled that of an entire nation, earning them the title of nation-level hunters. Gradually, government laws and authority began to lose their hold over hunters. Given by this concern, Jin-ho's father sought to assemble a guild of trustworthy hunters, one that would be immune to the allure of money or personal gain. Despite failing to recruit Jinwoo, his father recognized Jin-ho's worth and decided to bestow the Eugene Guild upon him. However, Jin-ho surprisingly declined the guild he had long coveted, choosing instead to join Jinwoo's guild. The scene returned to the entrance of the Hunters Association building, which was now a throne of reporters. A sea of microphones and cameras sprouted from the crowd, their lenses and sensors fixated on Jinwoo, blocking his escape route. Yoonho offered to help Jinwoo out of this situation, just as Yoonho was about to intervene. Jinwoo suddenly vanished from his side and in a flash was on the other side of the crowd. Jinwoo said, "No need to worry, I'm fine." Everyone who saw it was stunned. Jinwoo's movement had been so fast it blurred from their sight. Choi smirked and said to Yoonho, a mage-class hunter with that kind of movement, "Are you okay, Mr. Baek Yoonho?" Yoonho remained speechless, his mind grappling to comprehend what he had just seen. He knew Jinwoo was strong, but this was on another level entirely. The movements, the raw power, everything about Jinwoo felt different from their first encounter. It was as if Jinwoo possessed the uncanny ability to grow stronger with each passing moment. Yoonho wondered, could this be the mark of a truly exceptional hunter? Following the reevaluation, Jinwoo prepares to venture back into the Demon Castle. He visits an auction house to sell his items and acquire artifacts to withstand the castle's intense heat. The salesperson escorts Jinwoo to a private room filled with high-quality artifacts. Jinwoo inquires about the safety of storing such valuable items behind seemingly fragile glass. The salesperson assures him that the glass is reinforced with strengthening magic, capable of withstanding even the most powerful blows from an A-rank hunter. As a challenge, the salesperson invites Jinwoo to try breaking the glass, promising him the artifact inside if he succeeds. Intrigued, Jinwoo gathers his magical energy in his fist, ready to strike. Noticing his intent, the salesperson quickly intervenes, explaining that it was merely a joke. Breaking the glass would attract powerful hunters from far and wide. Shortly after, Another salesperson arrives to assist Jinwoo in selecting daggers. After Jinwoo's departure, the first salesperson is astonished to find a crack in the glass, even though Jinwoo hadn't struck it, a thought that sends a shiver down his spine. The scene shifts to the White Tiger headquarters, where Yunho is deep in thought about Jinwoo's mysterious power. He wonders if Jinwoo could be a hunter with limitless potential. With such strength, Yunho believes Jinwoo would be better off starting his own guild rather than joining theirs. And in the end, he realizes that his efforts to recruit Jinwoo are doomed to fail. The next day, Jinwoo's apartment was swarmed by reporters. Even Manager On showed up, still not giving up on recruiting Jinwoo. Meanwhile, Jinna was peeking out the window, and to her surprise, the reporters spotted her and immediately pointed their cameras at her. Jinwoo wondered if he should go downstairs and tell the reporters to leave. But Jinna begged her brother not to, saying she was already being trashed online for ignoring the reporters yesterday. Suddenly, there was a knock at the door. Jinwoo was annoyed and was about to yell at the reporters for daring to knock on his apartment just to get news about him. But when Jinwoo opened the door, it was Jinho. Jinho crying, saying that his father had kicked him out and asked to stay at Jinwoo's place for a few days. Jinwoo was speechless and immediately closed the door. At Jinho's house, Jinho's mother told her husband that he had been too harsh on Jinho, but his father said that Jinho deserved it because he had chosen to follow Jinwoo instead of inheriting the Eugene Guild. However, Jinho's father suddenly felt dizzy and fainted. As night fell, Jinwoo realized just how famous he'd become. He started to worry about his loved ones. Slipping into his little sister's room, he softly said, "Come out." In an instant, the shadows of General Highwarp materialized beside him. Jinwoo was confused as to why there were only 3 shadows. One of the shadows made a gesture, and Jinwoo chuckled while remembering that one was still stuck to the ceiling. He ordered one of the shadows to protect his sister, and the shadow warriors dutifully took up their positions. Jinwoo headed to the roof of his apartment building, determined to safeguard his neighbors. Summoning several more shadow warriors, he gave them a clear mission. From now on, you guys are this neighborhood's watchmen. Be discreet and don't let anyone spot you. The shadows dispersed silently, patrolling the area. As they melted into the night, Jinwoo found himself hoping that his efforts would help create a more peaceful world. The following day, Jinwoo returned to the Demon Castle, determined to clear the quest from the system. With careful preparation, he was now equipped with fire-resistant gear. Not long after, a message from the system popped up in his mind. Normal quest: collect demon souls part 2. Baron, the monarch of the demons, resides on the highest floor of the Demon Castle. Eliminate Baron and collect its soul. The rewards for completing this quest are highest quality runestones, a stat bonus of +30 and hidden rewards. Jinwoo thought the rewards this time were really exciting, especially since he would get runestones, which would grant him a job-specific skill. So far, he has obtained 3 job-specific skills: Shadow Extraction, Save Shadow, and Domain of the Monarch. The thought of what he could earn this time made him feel very enthusiastic. Jinwoo headed to the magic circle to go straight to the 76th floor. As soon as he arrived, he was confronted by a horde of demons ready to take him down. He summoned Tusk to fight and gave him a magic orb to boost his spell power. Tusk cast his spell, Hymn of the Fire Dragon, unleashing a massive fire blast that obliterated the high-level demons. The impact even destroyed part of the area. Jinwoo was impressed by the power, and thanks to the demon wipeout, his status leveled up. As his level increased, the capacity of his shadow warrior grew as well. However, he was a bit disappointed that he couldn't extract the demon corpses, which would have given him more warriors. He realized that moving with a large group of warriors was inefficient, so he split them into separate teams for better efficiency. Tusk led a group of orcs, Igris and Iron commanded the Knight Squad, Tank headed the Bear Monster Troops, and 2 high orc generals took charge of the remaining orc forces. And he commanded his warriors. First, you should spread out by team and defeat all the enemies you encounter. Second, if you find an entry permit, you should report it to me immediately. Disperse. And instantly the 6 teams scattered across the floor. Jinwoo knew that by doing this he would have to forget the drops from every monster he defeated, and focus on obtaining the entry permit to move to the next floor as quickly as possible. The Shadow Warriors continued to scour the floor, eliminating all enemies. System notifications popped up, showing that Jinwoo was gaining a lot of experience points. Jinwoo used a potion to restore his mana so he could keep regenerating his shadows continuously. The scene shifts to the emergency center. After being asleep for 2 days, Jinho's father finally wakes up and asks the doctor about his condition. The doctor explained that he might be suffering from eternal slumber, a disease that causes the sufferer to lose consciousness until it depletes their life force permanently. This condition is brought on by prolonged exposure to mana radiation. Hearing this, Jinho's father contemplates his fate. He realizes that he's been left behind by the changing times and might struggle to survive in this chaotic world. However, he hasn't given up easily. He tells himself that he's not beaten yet. Meanwhile, on a small island in Japan, a monstrous ant has crossed the ocean and made its way onto the island. The ant then flies towards the city, hunting down the terrified inhabitants. Back at the demon castle, after spending several days deep in the dungeon, Jinwoo was surprised to find his shadow warriors had leveled up significantly. Dividing them into smaller groups had accelerated their leveling process beyond his expectations. Jinwoo had already reached the 80th floor, but after 2 days of exploring he still hadn't found the entry permit. Suddenly, his mana started draining rapidly. He realized that a powerful enemy was systematically defeating his shadow troops. From a distance, he saw a massive explosion, and his mana was quickly depleted again. With no other options, Jinwoo ordered his shadow warriors to retreat. The same thing happened the next day. Both General High Orc's team and Igris's team had been defeated. As he suspected, there was a powerful demon lurking on this floor. Jinwoo began analyzing the enemy's movements and realized they were targeting his weaker shadow warriors. After careful observation, Jinwoo predicted that the tank team would be the next target of the enemy. Jinwoo followed the tank team, keeping a close eye on them from a distance while staying hidden with his stealth skills. It didn't take long before a group of demons appeared, and now Tank and his team were facing off against a squad of demon knights.